All right. Who has a 100-word summary of all the trouble you got into last time I ran this game that's impossible to run?
We killed the dragon. Victor got hit in the face with a psionic breath and now has psionic powers. It's like Spider-Man, but with dragons.
Got hit with a psionic breath. What kind of powers did I get?
You got the ability to help people better.
Oh, I'll take it.
You have the ability to know what psionic breath feels like.
I guess that's true. I can't argue that that isn't true.
What about the power to move you?
I don't have that power. Yet.
I think that was the main thing we did last time.
I feel like I stabbed one of you.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, it was me. That was me. You stabbed me. Really good. Felt really good.
Got super stabbed.
Edmund went down a dark alley and took a dagger to the chest.
I feel like I asked you a question before you got stabbed, though.
It wasn't important.
I mean, my memory's fuzzy, but I kind of... Like, getting stabbed is your fault, isn't it?
Brickroot, it wasn't important.
Is it ever really your fault if someone stabs you?
No,
They can
never. Not even once.
It's the player's fault, not the character's fault.
That I can accept. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think all we did last week, we took down a dragon. We carved him up for magic materials.
Beanie bought a boat engine, but didn't buy a boat to go with it.
Yeah, we managed to procure ourselves the engine of a boat by making up some good old alternative facts to keep people from buying it. Edmund got stabbed in the chest trying to trace down the person who put skeletons in our closet. And I think we decided to go check out some ruins because we were sick of being attacked in the city.
Be attacked somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right. So, new business. These are some new developments that occur before you guys have a chance to leave for your expedition. Well, first thing, are we going to do anything about Edmont coming back to the manor stabbed?
Can I ask him what the hell happened?
Well, Evie was there with me, so...
In fairness, the other guy also got stabbed. I would argue he got stabbed worse.
Do you
I
have
don't
a
know.
body?
I mean, he's not dead, I don't think.
Well, then you didn't stab him well enough.
I mean,
Well, to be
bodies
fair,
just
he
raise
didn't
so
stab
many
me well.
questions.
To be fair, he didn't stab me well enough.
I mean, I recall there being a real chance of Edmont dying in that scene.
Yeah.
I saved him.
Edmund got lucky twice after he got stabbed. There's video evidence.
I'm gonna start saving my words of resolve just to bring people back to life.
It's like a good use of it.
You can't use words of resolve to bring people back to life.
You can use it for a 2-for-1 to heal somebody, right?
Yes, but only if your target can hear you, which you can't if you're unconscious.
We played that wrong.
Did we? Oh, then you're dead then.
Okay, well, I guess I'll get started a new character then.
When you're like level, I don't know, 13 or something, you can use words of resolve on an unconscious target.
Well, I don't think any of us are ever going to be able to 13 nobles, so...
So, new develop. Okay, so, yeah, no. Then, yeah, we should absolutely pass the word that we found out to at least to the rest of the group. I don't know about passing the word to Ruby about what this is about, though.
I think we want to
'cause-
tell her that you got stabbed. I think we should keep that to ourselves for now.
Yeah, I think we keep that one on the down low.
Okay. A day later, representatives from Longchin arrive at the manor.
Oh, this is not good.
to offer recompense for one of his rogue employees attacking Edmont in an alley. And when this man arrives at the manor, it's the first time Ruby is hearing of this. Long story short, Longchin's people deny any culpability in the attack. They offer the family a strongbox with 300 gold in order to keep quiet about the attack. And in return, they ask them, meaning Edmont and his people, to leave the warehouses in peace from investigation. This request is backed by the authority of what's called a note of trespass. This means that they have some official capacity by which they know that Evie and Edmont were poking around their warehouses, bothering their employees, asking pointed questions. So while they're very sorry that Edmont got a little bit stabbed when he made one of their employees feel nervous, they're basically offering this gold as way of apology and then saying, stay the hell out of our business. And if you don't, we have this official note of trespass filed with... essentially filed with the government, and if you don't want it, to blow back on the family. Which Ruby doesn't, and she's also livid that she had to learn from this Longchin mook that Edmont had been stabbed in an alley.
Does she seem like she's more upset that nobody told her Edmund was stabbed, or that Edmund was stabbed?
Primarily, she's upset that Edmont almost got murdered in an alley. Like, she doesn't want to see any of her family murdered.
Oh, Edmund, she cares about you.
And
Yeah.
aside from that, she wants to know exactly what Edmont is mixed up in that he would get shivved in an alley. So far, she doesn't know that Evie was with him. She only knows what you've chosen to tell her.
I was following up on a lead into the information as to who sent the who sent us the gift of skeletons.
She's listening.
And I think I'll own up that I was with him. I'm not going to let Edmund take the fall for this by himself.
And I mean,
she's listening. She
I
wants to
figured-
hear what
I
you've
figured-
learned.
and yeah,
You guys didn't learn anything. You botched that check.
yeah.
So what do you
We
tell
know
her?
we know where they are. I think that's all we know.
We know where they were stored. That's it.
Well, you already knew that before you went out there.
Yeah, but
So you
Ruby
spent
doesn't know that.
several days. Well, she knows that you spent several days on this investigation. That you were attacked by someone like in Longchin's employ, almost killed, and you got no new information out of it than what you
Yeah.
had before. Why
Yeah.
are you doing these investigations yourself? Why can't you hire somebody to look into this for you? Why are you insisting on plugging yourself this close into the situation where now there's an official record of you having done it? So now skeletons have shown up. It's already on the family. They've had to take a PR hit for Ned. But now, also, the people who were storing the skeletons have reason to believe that you've broken onto their property, or whatever you did. She's not judging.
I see your point, and it will not happen again.
You didn't see the previous point that came up under your ribcage. And she looks over at
No,
Evie.
I didn't.
Victor laughs a little bit at that.
Does Victor think it's funny that cousin Edmont was stabbed?
No, Victor just likes your way with words.
Was Evie distracted that she wasn't watching Edmont's back properly?
Oh, is she talking to me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
No,
she's,
I got- no,
she's
I
using
got
her
a big
big
no.
sister voice.
no, I got a very good view of him getting stabbed, actually.
Any
I
further
hope this
investigation that you do into this warehouse, and she still needs to know the results of that investigation. Like, she can't leave that lie, but she does not approve of the way that you've gone about it. You've gotten yourselves into trouble. She wants you to take this gold that you've received from Longchin and put it to use hiring qualified investigators. Here's a business card that some weird gnome gave me. He was smoking a pipe and wearing a hat.
That sounds extremely reliable.
They have
No,
very
it
reasonable
doesn't.
rates.
They're very reasonable.
But no, she tells you, you have proven that you are very capable of certain kinds of work. What you've done with the Lucky Mooring has bought the family a lot of social currency. She realizes that you have some kind of expedition planned for the House of Unseelie Valuation.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there's a reason that she's not strapping on a sword and going out into the field and slaying unseelie creatures. It's because it's not her strength. What she wants you to do is figure out how to play to your strengths, and it's definitely not detective work.
Yeah, we're adventurers, not detectives.
And that's it. That's the end of the dressing down. She does give you guys the 300 gold, which she hopes she will put to use furthering this investigation by hiring qualified third parties to do it, but she's not your mommy. You can do whatever you want with your money.
No, that sounds good.
I mean, if we go back there, it has to be with all of us.
No, yeah, you're right.
I'm sort of a detective. He kind of scratches his chin.
Okay, is Ruby going to look at you and say that you are a detective?
Well, Ruby has dismissed you all. I'm going to assume anything from this point on you're not saying in her presence.
Okay.
Yep.
So, we're in a big city, right?
Yeah, biggest city in the Republic.
Allegedly.
So there's got to be a thieves guild around here someplace we can contract.
I think Longshin is the Thieves Guild.
Sounds to me like I'm gonna go make some new friends.
The other development that happens later in the week is you receive word that cousin Abernathy Amberson, the gentleman that Trieste is hoping to hook up with Jeannie, is traveling north to Brennanine to present himself and to woo his dearest Jeannie's heart. And that his arrival is a few weeks out.
I'm sure Jeannie is thrilled.
Jeannie's gonna need some time to prepare for that. It sounds like it's gonna be a big responsibility. We should get her someone to go shopping with.
Ekon, you had sent out some house retainers to scout the road to the ruins. Is that correct? Or someone had.
No, Ekon sent his bird.
Yes, that's correct. I sent
and
my retainer, Auburn, out there. She scouted the road and then she set up camp like a 1 day's march away from the city.
Yeah, I think Victor had his guy go with her too.
Okay. The response you receive is that there's a village on the banks of the lake, about equidistant from the two ruins you're supposed to survey.
Okay.
The village is called Weston Rill, and it's tiny, tiny village. There's not even an inn in this city. There's not even a full-time Aethar to tend to the village. But what she's done is she's made them aware that House Veritas is going to be coming to the village and staying for some time, so they'll have somebody there prepare you a place. The idea is that you can kind of use the village as your base of operations for the duration of the war.
And I'll send a message back that's saying that they should also set up some place that I can actually hold a mass for the people then if they don't have a full-time Aethar.
They have a church in the village.
Oh, great.
But they haven't had a full-time Aethar in many years. So just however often a traveling Aethar comes through the town, they just get all of their weddings and funerals and stuff out of the way. Yeah, it's just a tiny fishing village sitting on the lake. It's about equidistant. It's about 6 days' ride from Brennanine if you take a nice leisurely pace.
Cool.
Brick, one thing that Victor is going to be doing during the aftermath of all this is using his cartography skills to try and decipher what the hell this weird leathery map is that he got off the dragon dude?
Make an intelligence is cartography kit. Is that a tool proficiency you have?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
make that check. Intelligence cartography kit.
That would be a 20.
20. You don't recognize the area drawn on the map, but the reason you don't recognize it is because it's a very localized map. It's not showing a very large area, and you personally are not very familiar with the geography just in Gran Francisco. What you would need to do is find somebody in the city, probably a cartographer in the city, or use some kind of magical means to determine the origin of the map. But with a couple of days of study, you almost certainly could find, match up the geographic features on the local map you have with a much larger one. It's chocograph hunting, essentially.
Hey,
I'll bet that's in Final Fantasy XIV, isn't it?
probably.
Yeah, because that game doesn't have any original ideas, does it?
Evie has some stuff she needs to work on too.
Yeah, so Victor's going to try and decipher this map while everybody's kind of waiting to get ready to go to the ruins.
Okay. Do you guys want to take a few more days before you set out to let Victor and Evie finish up their work?
Yeah.
I mean, Edmont's going to need a couple of days to to rest
Heal
up
up.
from that stab.
And also, while Victor is trying to find the Cartographer's Guild or whatever, he's also trying to keep an ear out to see if he can learn anything about a Thieves Guild in the area.
I'll say you can do one or the other in the time you've
All
got.
right, he'll focus on the map, then.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say it costs about 30 gold to get a skilled cartographer to give you access to his collection and a couple of days to do the research.
Okay, where's that party sheet we at?
Can I spend some of this downtime while everyone else is waiting, trying to decipher the cipher we got from the bookstore?
Absolutely.
What should I roll for that?
I'll say you can either use history or religion. It'll be intelligence.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make a religion check. Should I just make one check for the however many days?
Yeah, just make one check, but you can apply your
Yep.
cantrip bonus or whatever you have. Guidance.
Yep. So that would be 16, 19.
19. So the mistake that these weird flaming terrorist people are making is that they're patterning their movements after like an ancient order of Aetherine zealots. Around the time where there were some reformations in the church, these guys are the fire and brimstone types who wanted to go back to the days of like burning people's faces off, hacking off limbs for small infractions against the church kind of thing. Which means that the cryptography they're using isn't necessarily new. It's a spin off of old notes that have been studied and researched, and as soon as you find the correct track to look in on them at the cathedral, you're able to get the gist of what's happening in the letter that you received from the booksellers. There is an operative named Chrisen who is operating a cell of the Hand of Fire in Brennanine, and it sounds like he's operated here for some time. What he's talking about in the letter is one of his operatives in Nornir, which is a city far to the south in Mendelin. It's actually the city where Cousin Abernathy is traveling from to woo your cousin. Apparently has gotten word that there's going to be military trouble with a country to the south called Endoline, which 300 years ago was the home of the Holy Church. There is growing support in the city of Nornir for kind of a return to fire and brimstone sort of reparation, and a lot, because it's so close to the border, and not only the border, but because the Endoline rivers flow directly through Mendelin, there's a lot of intermingling between the two cultures. And a lot of the Endoline people that live in Nornir are dissatisfied with the church there. What's interesting as you're kind of going through, because you only have two notes of correspondence, and one of them is mostly burned.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound like the Hand of Fire is facilitating this. It sounds like they're trying to stop it, at least in Nornir.
Okay.
Sounds kind of serious.
So essentially you've got zealots in Endoline who are planning to do something in Nornir that the zealots in Nornir see as a threat to themselves. And you're still not sure how the Brennanine faction might tie into all this.
Okay.
The map that you have, Victor. Here, let me bring out the region map. I just need to delete this Dunfoss map because I almost open it every time I go in. So Brennanine is here. The place you're traveling to, the Lake Rex Ronto, is up here. The map is showing a location in the southern foothills here, just inside the borders of Revelia. The only actual road into the valley goes through Westkeep, which is the capital of the province. But it wouldn't be difficult to find like old game trails or animal paths or things that lead into the foothills. It looks like it's just a straight up treasure map. It looks like it's just this guy had in his pocket for some reason a place that just marks a location in these foothills.
That's where he was stashing his take?
Unlikely, because there's no river that runs up there.
So in the tales of dragons and stuff that are known, are dragons known to keep like treasure troves and stuff? Hoards?
Of course. But
So we found the dragon's treasure hoard.
But this guy was operating up and down the rivers north out of Lake Lothril, so...
I mean, maybe while we're doing this ruins thing, we could take how many days out of our way would it be to go there?
How far away?
So you're about 6 days to get up to the lake and back. That's up here. Your other location is way down here in the foothills.
So it's completely off the...
entire opposite direction, and there won't be a lot of good roads.
How far, like, travel time distance does it seem like it would take to get there?
Maybe about the same. It's difficult to say because it's not an area that's traveled to very often. And technically, if you're going to go there and look to plumb ruins or anything, you're supposed to notify the proper authorities in the province that you're going to be operating in their borders, etc., etc.
What if we don't know if there's ruins there? What if we just want to go see what's there? Do we have to tell anybody?
I mean,
Not our land.
there are rules of etiquette about this thing. It's really to what degree does Victor care about these rules of etiquette? This is a question you must answer for yourself, my son.
The house that runs Revelia already does not like us. I just want to say that.
That is true.
Which means that if we tell them we're going to go there, they're likely to disallow us.
Absolutely.
So we got two options. We can proceed with our planned excavation and get our good little buddy, whatever his name is, some experience plumbing ruins. Or we can go after the dragon treasure hoard.
I feel like that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Dragon treasure hoard?
No, I don't think that's... I think you're on shaky ground as it is, as far as justifying these kind of incursions.
You don't want to go try and get your hands on some unseelie artifacts to give to the church?
Nobody said they don't want to go do a dragon horde, but I think we need a better plan than just, trespass in the territory of a family that already hates us and take stuff that we don't know where it came from or who it actually belongs to or what it is.
You're assuming they know about it.
Evie speaks words that I don't need to speak for myself right now.
And also,
I think we should deal with the exploration we have lined up in front of us, and then we can figure out.
Agreed.
Yeah, we need to have a better plan than just go wander around in the Valley of Revelia looking for treasure without a plan.
Where's your sense of adventure?
You're about to leave on an adventure.
We're going on an adventure already.
Do you ding ding?
It's the known unknown versus the unknown unknown.
Plus, didn't you already send your retainer out like He's waiting
Yeah.
for you outside this village, like just checking his watch.
I don't understand.
Like just checking his watch.
I don't understand.
It's like, I think Victor just stood me up again.
Fine, we'll go do our planned expedition, but then we're doing the treasure hoard. So
we
start thinking about how to do
treasure
it.
hoard, but we got to think of a better way to do it.
That's fine. Put your thinking cap on and think about it while we walk to the other place.
So, realistically, to go out to the location where this map is indicating, first of all, you would have to plan for some mountainous terrain, which isn't exactly outside of your wheelhouse, but it's not something you're packed and equipped for right this minute. And unknown is correct, because like this is not a very civilized area. There's not known to be any like rich veins of ore in the area. There's no mining operation or anything. And like there's a reason that there are no roads into and out of the area. You would be very far away from even just the nearest like podunk with an outhouse and a goat. You would be well off the beaten path and probably a good week away from your closest bolt hole.
Hey, Victor's got a shovel. It's okay.
Got a shovel?
He doesn't need an outhouse. He'll be fine.
Can you pogo around on it? Like a...
Probably.
So you guys are taking your retainers and your familiars and Orson. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to leave my attendant in town. I don't think she's very good in the field. I want her to be like an ear on the ground while I'm out in the city.
So she's tending to your business back home. And how are you are you traveling light, just like on horseback, or are you traveling like with a carriage filled with steamer trunks and all kinds of unnecessary stuff because you're rich people who don't know how to vacation properly?
Evie has a
I mean, I
horse.
think I'm pretty light, though we do have a bag of
we're pretty
holding.
light.
Yeah, Victor
Sort
just
of.
has his normal traveling exploring backpack with his little bedroll and stuff.
All right, so you're just traveling on horseback, a lot of you.
Yeah.
So you're
Take some
gonna make,
extra rations with us on the horses, but yeah.
you're gonna make excellent time. And roads are pretty good outside of Brennany. I forget which of the big houses, but there's a big house whose job is basically to just maintain all of the major roads. So you're not just going through like sunken wagon ruts and whatnot. You've got good, probably crushed cobble roads that are well maintained, miles and miles and miles outside of the holy city in every direction.
Do I get to take an action before we head to the ruins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This map is perfect because I want to talk about that land deal that we were talking about with House Airedale.
Okay.
And if I recall, it was this space right here, right?
In this general area, yeah, there's hills on both sides of the of the divide.
So there's a couple things I want to look into because Evie, this is probably the first time she's been able to do any kind of major deal for the family, so she wants it to go well.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, she wants to have this area surveyed. She wants to know how much gold is actually there, who actually owns it, and how much it's actually worth to our house, if anything. Second of all, is I can see a really big problem that's going to come up with this land deal. You probably didn't think I saw it, but I did. And that is that this particular area of land right here also borders Ervalia, which is the territory of House Heartshield, House Veritas' sworn enemies. And they are going to be very, very unhappy to hear about us talking about a land deal with House Airedale.
Maybe.
They are going to find some way to interfere with this land deal.
So to your first question, that's the kind of thing that you'd have to set up a mining operation to even determine, to know exactly how much is in the ground.
So there's no practical way to do that.
That trying to do it surreptitiously would probably take a great deal of magic and would have to be done in secret without anybody else finding out. So if you have a good plan for doing it that way, because otherwise settling who has rights to the land is kind of the first step. Who has the authority, the permission to go into this specific area and determine how rich it is.
Mm-hmm.
As to the rest of it, that would be something you could investigate. How much claim anybody from Ervalia might have in the area.
Victor, what was the name of that lawyer who you talked to a couple weeks ago?
Oh, let me see if I can remember what his name was.
Anybody else?
I think it was Vesterhoff. Is that it?
I don't have
Yeah,
it written down.
That's it. That's Vince
Yeah.
Vesterhoff was his name.
Yeah. He was like a guy who was his specialty was these kinds of land disputes, right? That's what he does.
Yeah, we got the survey guild, and then we can hire him to do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, I kind of think I want to hire him as a retainer to like investigate the legality of all this, figure out who would own the. He could help us figure out who legally has the claim.
Well,
Lewis
you'd be paying
Vesterhoff.
him many hundreds of gold pieces because he would have to travel out to the area as part of his investigations. You could do it. You could hire him, but you're talking. I'm going to say at least 400 to 500 gold out of pocket.
Do we need the lawyer to do it, or can the survey guild go out there, or the border is firmly established enough with the survey guilds? You're just going to be like, yep, it's already on the map.
Well, the survey guild that you're working with doesn't have jurisdiction that far out. You're way outside of the province. You're way outside of the holy city.
Is there another survey guild that would be more appropriate than a lawyer?
Evie, make a wisdom check.
Sure. Where's my dice? My wisdom is not terrible.
Are you trained in history?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Make it at advantage.
Okay. $20.
20.
Not a natural 20, but it's 20.
The best first step would be to find out. Actually, Evie would already know this because she's trained in history and she's from South Warren. What house already controls the land on this side of the border in South Warren? That would be your starting point. Make them aware that you might have something going down in the future and you need them to start getting their ducks in a row. So you would find out who the lord of that land is. They would find out like what actual families are currently, if any, currently working and operating the land. And then maybe in a few weeks you would have more information to act on.
Okay, so maybe send can I just send a missive to whoever the lord of this territory is, or do I have to go through Lady Anford to do that?
Either way, this comes down to Evie's particular tolerance for social decorum.
Evie wants this. She wants to do this right. She wants to do this by the book. She wants to establish herself as a reputable businesswoman.
Okay. Now, I want to make sure you remember, though, that this is all contingent on you marrying this guy.
Well, he did not sound very enthusiastic about that part.
He didn't sound enthusiastic about being married, but it is a marriage contract.
So,
this would be a marriage of convenience for political gain. You would only have to have sex with him once and only have to go through childbirth once.
I mean, when we were talking, it sounded like he just wanted his gold. Like, we can't do this land
He
deal
does.
without.
You're richer than him, and he would love to be a part of your family and take the Veritas name.
Well, I mean, he's not going to get it in with that attitude.
At least he's honest.
Yeah,
You might have found the one honest man in all of the city.
he's not even in the city.
So, whether you choose to marry this guy or backstab him down the road, the first step would be to contact the lords in South Warren of that area. And I'll say you already know who that is because you are trained in history.
Okay. Well, I guess as the first step, I want to contact the Lord and have them look into it for me and see what's going on there.
Okay. I'll put it this way. If you go through Lady Anford, she would probably assume that this is a marriage contract in the works. If you want to avoid that aspect on it, it's best that she doesn't know what you're up to.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to avoid that for now. I don't know if I could avoid having Ruby know about this, because I assume she's going to have to foot the bill.
Okay. Let me make a note that you've done this here.
But yeah, I just want to get the wheels turning on this. It doesn't have to be something that gets resolved right now. We'll figure that out.
What is Edmont doing before setting out on the expedition?
I wanted to inform the. I wanted to spend the time working out with the acrobatic troupe just to kind of make sure I've got everything back where it needs to be. Kind of recover my strength basically.
Okay.
And then also let them know that I'll be out of town for a couple of weeks from the sound of it.
Sure. after you guys are underway, once you get on the road, so it's you guys and whatever retainers you're bringing in Orson as well. Edmont.
Yeah.
One night after you guys have made camp, this is 6 days of travel out to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Orson pulls you aside. So, I know that we're supposed to be surveying the two ruins at the north and the west of the lake, and well, I do have these. And he pulls out of his horse's bags a scroll case. He hands it over to you. When you pull the stopper on it and roll up inside,
Take a look at the scrolls.
2 magical scrolls.
Do I know the spells that they are?
Monks are not spellcasters, so no.
Even with stuff on my noble spell list?
Also, you learned like 3 spells as part of the Path of Darkness.
Yeah. That would also include Minor Illusion, Darkness, Dark Vision, Pass Without Trace, Silence.
No, none of the above.
Okay. And that's a no on the magic from Noble.
Yeah, you don't. It's not on
Okay.
your noble list either. So he's a little surprised
look
that you don't seem to recognize it.
Yeah, I'll look a little concerned and say, I've never seen magic like this. Where did you get this?
Well, it's supposed to allow us to breathe underwater so that we could survey the underwater ruins as well. I know that it's not what we're coming out here to do, but I didn't do anything illegal to get these. And as long as we find the treasure...
Is Victor in earshot of this conversation?
No, only Edmont.
Okay.
Hold on to it for the time being. But it's distressing that you wouldn't bring this to our attention until we're on the road.
Well, I just thought it's what my father would want. There's no point in leaving one of the ruins unsurveyed if we don't have to. I understand that it's dangerous, but...
Where did you get these scrolls?
And he kind of chews his lip and says, is that important?
I would say it is, because...
As long as we find the treasure, I'll be able to pay for them.
And you didn't pay for them in advance?
Well, the Veritas name has considerable credit attached to it.
And you're avoiding my question. Who gave you these?
Make an insight check.
Don't mind if I do. A 9.
9.
Yeah.
He continues to avoid your question. And he changes the subject. And he sounds like he's a little concerned. He's like, so, if we're not going to use them, we shouldn't tell my siblings, and we make sure the word doesn't get back to my father, don't you think?
I would say that as we are now, it's just us out here. Nothing need get back to the rest of the family, but if you're in if there's been some kind of issue with you procuring these scrolls, then it would behoove you to tell us what happened. Would it not?
And he bristles a little bit. He says, you mean like you told Ruby what happened with Longchin's men?
Yeah, no. Edmund's a massive hypocrite. I understand this, Brick Road.
And at this, he starts folding the scroll case back into his saddlebags. He says, well, if you think it's too dangerous, if you think we ought not, then he's basically leaving it up to you whether or not you reveal this information to his siblings and to your brother. If you think it's wise to not put these scrolls to use, and to be clear, you haven't properly identified them either. They might not.
Yeah, that's my primary concern, because honestly, I think my brother would be best qualified to either my brother or, well, Jeannie, but she's back in town, would be best to identify its veracity and to ensure that it's safe to do so. And you can trust my brother. If you ask him not to reveal something, he will not. He will keep it in confidence.
He nods. But he seems disappointed by the exchange. The conversation did not go the way he thought it was going to go.
We've had a lot of unexpected and problematic things happen to us over the past few months. I think it's time that we start, being more forthright.
Didn't you just get stabbed in an alley?
Yeah, no, that's kind of where
the
it is right now. That was the wake up call.
Cute map.
Yeah, here we go. Courtesy of Daniel's Maps. Thank you for making this little map, Daniel. This is the village of Westonrill. And the village is kind of bisected by this sheer cliff. So half of it is, the bottom half, the lower village, is more of a fishing village where the men go out into the lake. They've only got lake access from one point. Otherwise, the village sits a good 20 or 30 feet above the sea level here, above the level of the lake. The upper village are, and then spanning out for a few miles in each direction away from the lake, is the greater farming community of the village. The area is managed by these people owe fealty to just some minor, lesser house that isn't very politically active. And not much here in the way of infrastructure, the way you would think of it. These are all residential houses. These are all just family homes, except for, I guess some of these are numbered, but I don't actually know what the numbers go to. But this number 3 is the largest building in the upper part of the village. Is a common hall. This would be a meeting place for festivals and feast days. A lot of the year they just use portions of it for storage. Grain storage, dried meat, things to lay by for winter. The only other building of note in the city is way down by the water, is a small church, which is in some state of disrepair. The village has not had an Aethar for almost a generation. Every 3 or 4 months, a traveling Aethar comes by on foot, tends to the village's needs in that time. I'll leave it up to you guys whether you think this village is a quaint and homey place or whether it is a disconnected backwater where you don't even get internet access.
Can it be a quaint, disconnected backwater?
By the time you've arrived, one of the fisherman families overlooking the lake, so this house here, has been gracious enough. They've cleared out. 2 households lived there, and they've cleared out to stay with other people. The community has taken them in, so you have the use of their house for the duration of your time here. You guys are like celebrities appearing.
Want to kick someone out of their house?
Well, at this point, you don't have the choice. You can either take the house that they're offering you, or you can live in a tent, but they're still not going to move back into their house while you're there. If you don't, it's going to look like some kind of weird power play that they're not going to understand completely.
Yeah, it might also be taken as a slight.
Yeah.
Oh, our house isn't good enough for you?
They won't take it
Victor-
as a slight because these are the smallest of small folk. They're not going to take anything you guys do as a slight.
Victor will graciously thank them for allowing us to use their house while we're here.
Okay.
Can we compensate them?
What do you offer? And who do you offer it to?
I mean, I don't know what's appropriate to offer in exchange for something like this.
Okay, then Evie doesn't know what it's appropriate to offer for something like
No,
this.
she probably doesn't. She's never done anything like this before.
So safe to say that you guys are just like out of your element at this point.
Yeah, a little.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Evie's got no bars and she doesn't know what to do.
There is a man in the village who is the village reeve. The reeve's job is basically to work as a go-between between the village itself and their interests and the local lord who lives in a large manor, which was once a fortified keep, but it's several miles away on higher ground. And then he controls several of the villages in the area, and then a bigger lord over him controls several of the keeps in the area.
What's this guy's name?
That's an excellent question. Does he need a name? Are you going to go see this guy?
I mean, probably worth talking to him as well as the other people in the village. Kind of get a lay of the land.
So the reeve's name is... Oh, I can't use that. The first name that came was Borislav. But I would just want to turn him into Vladislav because he's my favorite NPC ever.
Just call him Boris.
Lubin. And really, if you tried to have like a detailed conversation about your business here or anything with any of just the village people, probably you would be directed towards Lubin. They would listen politely, but they would be uncomfortable. Lubin is the only one here who would know how to talk to nobility in any capacity.
So Victor, upon first arriving, just kind of wants to wander around the village, try and talk to the people, find out what he can about the area. Not really saying anything about the ruins directly.
Oh, they know you're here for the ruins.
Okay, well then, yeah, just ask about the ruins, ask about the village. What's life like here? What do the people do? Where do you find food? All just the normal small talk. Hey, we're normal people just like you.
Is it Victor's intention to come across as like ignorant and disconnected?
It's not his intention. No, he's generally trying to find out like what is life like in this area.
Because I mean, you rode through many of their farms and watched many of their men fish the lake. So if you arrive at the village and ask, "Hey, what do you guys do for food?" Like they're gonna think you legitimately don't know, but they're not going to point out that you don't know because you're nobility.
I'm sure he will ask some stupid questions during it. He's basically just trying to get the
Ask stupid questions. Got it.
he's trying to make a good impression for House Veritas.
Okay. What about Ekon?
I mean, like I said, Ekon is going to offer to lead whatever services they need at this point from an Athar at the church.
Okay, and it would be Lubin's job to kind of like maintain a list of those things. And more so than anyone else in your party, you have people following you around everywhere in the village.
Cool.
Because not only
doesn't really bother him.
because most of the Athars that come through here, I mean, we're talking about like barefoot friars, whereas you're showing up wearing. You've got your full vestments packed, I'm sure.
And armor. Yep.
Oh, what kind of armor? It wasn't plate. Was it?
Half plate.
Half plate. Oh, so yeah, extremely expensive armor. So, Ekon personally might be the most interesting person that's arrived in this village since the old people here were young.
And he's a 15-year-old boy.
Now, being 15 out in the sticks like this, I mean, he's a grown man. There are fathers and fishermen who are his age and younger. What about Evie? What is Evie doing upon arrival at the village? This will just cover your first couple days. You guys are just kind of getting situated and getting your bearings together.
Evie's gonna ask some questions about like what are like the local landmarks, like what's out here. I'm not from here. I'm not familiar with the area. I know there's the 2 ruins we're here to look at. But I don't know what else is in this. 3 ruins. It's the one that's underwater, right?
Yes.
Okay, so 3 ruins, but I don't know what else is out here. I want to try to get the lay of the land. I have an owl who can go take a look too.
And what is Edmont doing, situating himself in the village?
I'm sorry, Edmont is he's kind of wandering around the village looking for a good angle to capture the village for a painting. He's gonna take a sketch from a good view of the of the village as a whole, make a sketch of it so he can paint it at home later.
So you would get a really excellent view of, because each of these cliffs is about 20 or 30 foot tall. So if you were with the upper village to your back, but you can see the fishing village stretch out below you. And there is a very quaint and rustic beauty to it. Also, I just noticed that there's like an ominous cave on this map. There's actually no cave in the village. Don't worry, that's not one of the ruins.
I was going to ask so many questions about that cave later.
You have Daniel to thank for that cave.
We all saw the cave. We were all ready to go into the cave and fight something.
I was expecting a sea monster.
Like a kraken.
It's a Leviathan.
Okay.
But yeah, Ekon's gonna be taking a sketch so he can make a full painting of it when he gets back home.
Evie.
Yes.
You learn a lot of local legends about the underwater ruins, especially. The ones that you're not going to survey. You're not here. The western ruins are little more than just a group of standing stones. There's not even like an actual building left. The northern ruins has an actual underground complex to it. An actual underground space that's known to flood twice a year due to its proximity to the lake. But it's like long empty. Once every decade or so, like some kind of local bandit group gets it into their heads to take up root there. But they haven't had those kind of problems in a very, very long time. Ever since local lord, what's-his-name, took over from his impotent grandfather. Small folk rumor kind of stuff.